Hi, everyone. This is Mark Hofer from the Luminaris.link blog and podcast, and I'm here to talk with you today about something that I continually struggle with, and I wonder if some of you do as well, and that's just keeping up on things. It's so difficult these days with so much information coming at you from so many different formats, whether it's journals or blogs, podcasts, websites. It can be really overwhelming. And I know that in a field like mine in educational technology, things constantly change, constantly new research, constantly new tools and resources. And it's really imperative for me to stay on top of things, to know what the latest trends are, to know what the latest research says, et cetera. And I'm sure it's similar for you in your disciplines as well. So what I'm going to offer today is, I hope, something that will be useful for you, is a very systematic strategy to try to keep up on things in ways that are not very time intensive, but yet still bring the information to you in a way that you can work with it and manage it. So in a couple of different videos, I'm going to walk you through how you can create your own system to aggregate content, read it in a variety of ways, and annotate it and organize it in a way that is helpful for you for future reference. So in this particular video, I'm going to talk really about sort of bringing all that content together and processing it in that initial time. And there's a few basic ideas that will be helpful for you to know if you're not familiar with them already. And one is the idea of RSS, or Real Simple Syndication. And what this means is that on many websites, especially in blogs and podcasts, but in many other types of websites as well, there's a file that you can subscribe to that will update you anytime that new content is added to that particular website, blog, or podcast in the form of a feed. So it's sort of like the equivalent of a serial radio program. So every time there's a new installment, you get that new information, that new installment. Now, in order to take advantage of these, you need to have a feed aggregator or some type of tool that can help bring that content to you. Some common examples of this are Feedly and Feed Wrangler. We'll go over those a little bit more in detail in just a moment. Those tools help bring that content together, and you can also read the feeds in those aggregators, but there are also dedicated feed reader programs like Reader and Flipboard to help you work through those the content in your feeds from different sources. So those are some basics, and now I'll go ahead and dive into some of the details about how you can set up a system using RSS feeds to bring content to you so that you can stay up with everything in your particular field. So the first step in setting up one of these systems is to identify some feeds that you want to stay on top of. So for example, I have some education-related blogs that I like to follow that are very useful for me, as well as particular journals in my field and my discipline that I can subscribe to get every time there's a new issue issued. I can get the table of contents right in my feed reader. So we're going to backtrack and walk you through a little bit about how you can identify those feeds, those RSS feeds, and then how you can set up your tool of choice to aggregate and then read those feeds. So to begin with, the simplest way to find an RSS feed for a particular source that you're familiar with is to just search for it. So I'm interested in the International Journal for the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. I can Google that particular search term here and then add RSS feed to the end. And then if I click on this link, I can see here is that feed for that particular journal. And if I click on that, you can see it looks like a little bit of gobbledygook. What I'm interested in is the address here up in the top, and I'm going to copy that feed. Okay. Now that's one way to find it. You can go directly to a particular journal, and oftentimes even if you just go to the journal website, it can be hard to find the RSS feed there. So that's why I recommend using the journal title and then the RSS feed. It's a little bit easier for blogs and podcasts. If there is a particular blog that I'm interested in, the Mindshift blog is a wonderful one, for example. Oftentimes I can just copy the web address and the feed is based on that web address. So blog, it's much easier. You just go right to the blog itself and copy that web address. But I've got the RSS feed here for the journal that I'll show you in just a moment. Another way to find a collection of RSS feeds more quickly for a particular topic or in a particular discipline is to create a Google search. Like for example, I'm interested in educational technology journal feeds. So I just typed that into my Google search terms, and I can see a number of different journals here with links to their RSS feeds. And oftentimes you can then find collections of feeds as well. So in any one of these ways, you can collect different feeds that you'd like to add to your reader. So once you've identified some feeds that you'd like to subscribe to, then it's time to find an aggregator and to create an account for your feeds. So a popular one is Feedly, and this offers a free service as well as a premium service with some additional features. Feedly is either owned or connected with Google, so you can actually log in right with your Google account if you have one of those. You can also log in with Twitter or a Windows account, so forth. So there's a number of different ways you can create an account. I'm going to go ahead and log in with Google. And once I'm logged in, this is an account I've already set up, but if you just log in for the first time, you won't see any feeds included here. What you will see is an option to add some content. So you can go to their prescribed categories already and select some feeds from those particular categories to get started. And sometimes that's a fun way to learn how the system works, get used to looking at feeds and so forth. You can always add or delete them later. In my case, though, I have copied this feed from the International Journal for Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. So I pasted that here in my window, and now I've added that feed. This gives you a little preview, and if I click the Add button, I can create a category if I'd like, and create a new category or choose from an existing one. I'm going to include this in my Journals category, and I'm going to click Add. So now, the next time something is posted in the International Journal for Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, it'll pop up right here on this feed. I don't need to go back to that website ever again, unless I want to, of course, but those feeds will pop up right here. And for any of these, you get a little preview. So you see a little bit of the first part of the article, and this looks interesting. So I'm going to click on this, and it takes me to a more detailed synopsis of the article. And then if I want from here, I can click to visit the actual website. And this is going to take me out to the journal website. And if I have full text access, I can access the article right there. So by including them in an aggregator like this, I can quickly scan the contents of 25 or of as many different journals as I subscribe to. So in this case, I've got about 10 journals here. I can quickly see what's the most current content in those journals. I can also then go up to my education blog category, and I can quickly scan through here and see what's new in the blogs that I've subscribed to. So this is very handy, and to be honest, 80 to 90% of these I won't even click on. It's enough for me to preview them and to see, what the content is, but then, I may not have any interest in them. But for those that I am interested in, I can then click on that, go to a more detailed version, and then go right actually to the website if I want to add a comment or check it out in more detail. One other nice feature of many readers and aggregators is the ability to annotate or to add that document to Evernote or another way to organize that content and collection. I can email an article to myself or to a colleague. I can add it to Twitter, add it to Facebook, so I can interact with that content in a number of ways. Once I've gone through and reviewed the feeds in that particular category, and I've viewed those that I was interested in, the rest I'm not, I can just click on the check mark button, and that'll mark all of them as read. So now when I go to my education, I don't have any new feeds, but I've still got more in my journals. So this is a really wonderful way to be able to scan those feeds quickly and easily, and then to shift that content to another tool to make use of it for later on. And that'll actually be the focus of the next video, and that'll be to walk you through a little bit about how you can send articles, blog posts, journal articles, to different ways to organize, collect, and annotate those resources for future use, whether they be for a paper or for a course. So some really good quick ways to organize that content that you find. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a comment on Luminar's link on the blog, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. If you've got suggestions for different ways you like to identify feeds or to use those in a different aggregator, please add that to the comments as well. It's great for the community to see different approaches. And again, stay tuned in about a week for the next installment where I'll walk you through how you can process all that information that you've come across.